Welcome to Finding Cases That Interpret Statutes. My name is Jessica Almeida, and I'm a librarian here at the University of Massachusetts School of Law. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at a research problem. I'm going to do a quick review of strategies and tools that you've already learned, and then I'm going to do a deep dive into cases that interpret statutes. At the end, I'll have a concluding slide that will give contact information. So first, let's start with the research problem. Your client, Michael Fairbanks, owns a duplex in Adams County, Pennsylvania. The tenant of Unit B recently moved out. When Michael used the master key to enter the unit, he found that several large items remained, including a couch, a dining table, 2 chairs, a mattress, and multiple boxes of household goods. He has tried to contact the former tenant by phone and email with no luck. Your client wants to clear the apartment so that it can be shown and re-rented, but he's unsure whether he may throw away, sell, or store the furniture left behind. He's come to you with the following questions. How long must he keep the property? Does he need to provide a written notice? And what liability might he face if he disposes of the furniture too soon? So first, let's just quickly review research strategy. We're going to come up with a research plan. We're first going to look in secondary sources. Hopefully, secondary sources will give us an introduction to the issue and get us to the primary sources. So the cases, the statutes, the regulations. Once we find our primary source, we will then validate that source and use citators to find additional cases. Let's start with our research plan. So first we need to think about our client's facts. And our client is a landlord whose tenant who's moved out and left some of their belongings behind. We need to think about what the governing law is. In this case, it's state law, it's Pennsylvania law. The issue statement that I've come up with, or question that I've come up with, is under Pennsylvania law, what is the process landlords must go through to store, sell, or throw away a tenant's abandoned property? Some of the key words that I've chosen to start with are landlord, tenant, and abandoned property. As we research, we're probably going to come across additional words, and we can continue to add these to our keywords as we're researching. And then the authority will be the state high court. Before we jump into cases, we always take a look at the secondary sources first. So in Lexis and Westlaw, try to find a secondary source on your issue. As you can see from the picture, I went into Pennsylvania secondary materials and I used the following search string. Landlord in the same sentence as tenant in the same sentence as abandoned property. Abandoned property is in quotation marks because I want it treated as a phrase and I want the algorithm to search those two words side by side. As you can see, I got 6 results. And the first result is section 5.08 of the Pennsylvania Real Estate Litigation, and it's on disposal of tenants' personal property. So it's right on point. When I clicked into this secondary source, the very first sentence, which I have posted right here, gives us the statute that we need to continue our research. Now, if you couldn't find a statute, or maybe you want to make sure that this is the controlling statute, you can also consult the index, the table of contents, and annotations of the state statutory code. If you knew the name of the act, you could try the popular name table, or you could just do a keyword search. You could go to the jurisdiction, you could go to their statutory code, and then you could put together a search string using your terms and connectors. Once you find the statute and you have validated it, next, what you're going to do is you're going to look for cases that interpret that statute. You can do that in a number of ways. The first one is to look at the notes of decision. Then you can use Keysight or Shepard's to find additional cases. And lastly, you can perform a keyword search. You would do, for this instance, I'm going to go into Lexis and Westlaw. We're going to do Pennsylvania all cases, and then we'll come up with a search string with our terms and connectors that will hopefully get us additional cases that help us understand this issue and this statute. We're going to start our research in Lexis. So as you can see, I have pulled up the statute that we found in the secondary source. At this point, we're going to read the statute. We're going to validate it. So we're going to make sure that it's still good law. As you can see, I have read through the statute and I've highlighted sections that I think are important to our client and to answering our client's question. And so as you can see, it talks about how many days, how to go about notifying the tenant, and it even gives the language in which you should use when notifying the tenant about their abandoned property. So now that I've done this, I'm going to go down and take a look at the history so that I know the last time it has been amended, which was in 2014. That can be important because I'm probably not going to want to look at any cases prior to 2014. And then, of course, here we have your notes of decision. This is the first way that you can find cases that interpret statutes. In Lexis, for this specific statute, there are two different categories. The first one is eviction actions, and the other one is in rent recovery. They give us a blurb about the case, and then they hyperlink the case so we can go directly there. If this case is on point and something I should be reading, I can click the link, I can go directly to the opinion and read the full opinion. The second way to find cases that interpret our statute is to shepherdize the document. Here you can see there are 10 citing decisions. It gives you the analysis right here. So we have 4 cases that are from the Third Circuit, and then 7 cases in Pennsylvania. You can narrow this by using the limiters on the left-hand side. You can narrow by search terms, analysis. You can narrow by court. Think about binding and persuasive authority. You can limit by publication status or by date. Remember that when you are reading these cases, you should also be validating these cases using your shepherd signals to determine whether or not they are quote unquote good law on your specific issue. The last way we can search for cases that interpret a statute is by doing a keyword search. First, I'm going to drill down a bit. State is Pennsylvania. I'm going to look at all states, the cases combined. And then here I'm going to put in my search string. I have chosen the terms and connectors. Tenant in the same sentence is abandon, and abandon is truncated. So I'm looking for anything where the root is abandon. Within 5 of property. This brought back 89 cases. As you can see, the first one is from the Superior Court of Pennsylvania from 2017. And we can see all of our words highlighted. So we know this is a pretty good search, but we probably can't read 89 cases. So we're going to look at the left-hand side and use our limiters to limit our results. We can search within results. We can use additional keywords. We can look at the court or the case type. We could look at the date or the publication status, or we could use any one of these limiters to limit our results and get us a list of cases that are on point. You can also use this drop-down menu on your right-hand side to sort by different parameters. For instance, if you wanted to sort by jurisdiction or by court or by date. Next, let's go to Westlaw and do some research. So here you can see I've already brought up our statute. You would read the statute and validate it. You would see the last time that it was amended, which is down here in the credits. And then you notice that there's the notes of decision, which are right here, and also right up top using this tab. In Westlaw, you can sort by procedural order or alphabetically by the topic. I'm going to leave it in procedural order. So first we have construction and application, we have fees for storage, damages, accrual of actions. Those are our topics. So if I was interested in cases that have to do with fees for storage, I would take a look at these 3 cases. They give you a little blurb about the cases. They hyperlink the case, so you can go directly there and read the full opinion. And they also put key numbers, so you can use the key number system to find additional cases as well. To find additional cases, you can also go to Citing References and click Cases. From here, you can use your filters to limit your results by searching within your results, jurisdiction, date, referenced in the notes of decision, and other limiters. You can also use the Sort By drop-down menu to sort your list of cases either by date or court level. Another way that we can look for cases that interpret statutes is by using a keyword search. The first thing I'm going to do is go to State Materials, click on Pennsylvania, all Pennsylvania cases. There is my search string. It gives me 77 results. You can search within your results. You can use precision filters to try to filter through the results. And then, of course, you have your limiters such as jurisdiction, date, reported status, etc. The other trick that I didn't mention in Lexis, which you can use in Lexis as well, but I'll mention it here, is that when you search within your results, you could type in the statute number and it will find it within the cases in your list. For instance, we would put our section number right here and hit continue and click view 3 cases. So now we took 77 cases and we've brought it down to 3 cases instead. Remember, when you read your cases, to always validate them as well. You can also sort your list by relevance, date, most cited, court level, term frequency, lots of different ways to sort your list. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me directly. My email is jessica.almeida@umassd.edu. You can email all of the law librarians at lawlib@umassd.edu. And if you enjoyed this tutorial, feel free to check out our YouTube channel for more. Thanks for watching and have a great day.